Good morning. Hao. Yeah. And welcome to this 100th anniversary celebration of Alfred North Whitehead's legacy at Harvard and beyond. Uh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Another round of applause. Why not? Okay. My name is Dr. Andrew Schwartz. I'm executive director of the Center for Process Studies, an associate professor of process studies and comparative philosophy at Claremont School of Theology. I have the wonderful privilege of being the moderator today, or our MC, or I don't know. I make sure we stay on time and stuff. So we have a wonderful day planned ahead of us. There's a series of presentations, discussion. We'll explore the development of Whitehead's thought at Harvard, his Chinese disciples at Harvard and their contributions, the broader interaction between Whitehead's philosophy and Chinese intellectual traditions, as well as the future of process philosophy. Just a few things on our agenda today. So Whitehead first arrived in the US August 27, 1924, delivered his first lecture at Harvard in this very room about a month later, September 25th. And we've actually organized today's conference to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Whitehead's arrival at Harvard, highlighting his interdisciplinary and global impact, particularly in relation to influence on Chinese scholars. So I want to thank a few people as we get started. I especially thank our co-organizers, United International College, the Harvard Chinese Student and Scholars Association, Boston School of Modern Languages, the Whitehead Research Project, all of whom, along with the Center for Process Studies, have helped to, as you might say, actualize the potential of this moment, which no doubt emerges from a synthesis of a rich history and possible futures, manifest today as a creative advance into novelty and the production of beauty. All right, it's out of my system. It's out of my system. There we go. But I do also want to acknowledge a few people, some representatives from the Education Office of the Consulate General of the People's Republic of China, based out of New York City. Consul Mr. Junwei Gong. Yes. And Associate Consul Mr. Jingjin Ma. This. So thank you very much for your support and for your presence here today. And I also want to give a special thanks to Professor Guo Haipeng, without whom this conference would never have happened. In fact, I remember sitting in Zhuhai with Haipeng and with Fubin, and we were talking, dreaming about, the next 100 years, or not the next, well, that's fun too. We could dream about the next 100 years, but no, we were dreaming about the fact that we're coming on 100-year celebrations of Whitehead and how much fun it would be to hold a celebratory event at Harvard. And of course, then Haipeng got to work, connected with the CSSA, and all of that basically gave us the inside track to have this space here today. So with much appreciation, thank you for making this possible. As we get started, thanks to some encouragement from my friend Andrew Davis, it seemed appropriate to adapt a few remarks from Whitehead's first lecture given in this very room 100 years and 2 days ago. And he says, this is not my best Whitehead accent. I don't know, maybe George might be able to help with this, but my first words in this university will be expressive of personal feeling. I can discern in myself many strains of intense emotion. Among them, there are two feelings to which I must give explicit expression. One of them is my sense of honor to have conferred by your invitation to occupy, in my case, the MC role for this conference. My other feeling is one of immense responsibility to keep us on time, and I cherish to the full the implications of that ancient phrase. There are bathrooms on the lower level, the level above, and across the lawn at Seaver Hall. This is a meaning. There is a meaning in things, and perplexities can be unraveled dimly, slowly, patiently. But if you want coffee and tea during the break, I recommend a coffee shop inside Fogg Museum, which is out the door on the right, just across the street. Obviously, Whitehead didn't say all those things. Some of those are mine, right? So with that, I want to begin. We have a series of welcoming speeches from wonderful people. And our first, someone who likely needs no introduction, Professor John B. Cobb Jr., preeminent scholar in the field of process studies, former student of Charles Hartshorne, who's a student of Whitehead's. Cobb's the founder of the Center for Process Studies back in 1973, Professor Emeritus of Claremont Graduate University and Claremont School of Theology, author and editor of more than 50 books, and a member of the, it sounds impressive, 50 books. When you live to be 100 years old, he turns 100 in February, right? So it's he's got plenty of time to write books. Let's not praise him too much. But he's also a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. And a few words from John Cobb.
Dear colleagues, dear friends, I am delighted to learn that the conference themed A Century of Process Thought, Commemorating Whiteheads Legacy at Harvard and Beyond, is held on Harvard campus today. You have my admiration for holding such a wonderful conference. Here, I would like to offer my deep gratitude to those who made this conference happen. We Whiteheadians have never been indifferent to the implications of Whitehead's thought. In recent years, especially since the 2015 conference, we have understood the major implications to be support of what we call ecological civilization. Since this term names a goal that many others share, often with other labels, we are joining forces with those in order to advance the work. Sometimes we emphasize that it is more important to save human civilization by transforming it than to promote any one philosophy. Some say this is in a way that seems to disparage our continuing commitment to the study and promotion of Whitehead. However, no such belittling of Whitehead's philosophy is justified. Many recognize that we will not change as we must in our actions unless we outgrow the modern worldview that is propelling us toward self-destruction. Among its features that must be overcome are a substantial individualism that is hard to separate from the primacy of competition in human relations. The primacy of individualistic competition is explicitly the grounds of the economic theory taught in our universities and is less explicitly assumed in other social theories and studies of human beings. It is rooted in the Indo-European languages so that it is part of Western common sense, even though it leads in directions that contradict common sense. Whitehead is one of a rare breed who provide the alternative we need. The vision of ontological interrelatedness that focuses attention on communities founded on cooperation. Whitehead's philosophy provides us with a worldview and an ontology that help us discern that life is meaningful and that we can all make positive contributions. This involves the spiritual world, so depreciated by late modernity. Whitehead offers us this as well. It is my judgment that Whitehead uniquely provides us with the understanding of reality that we need in order to experience the transformations that will make an ecological civilization possible. The broad public prejudice against metaphysics is an obstacle to getting attention to his achievement. You are keeping the light bright. Thank you for your serious critical study of Whitehead. In due course, if people like you will keep on keeping on, I believe the superiority of Whitehead's philosophy will lead to its establishment as playing an important role in the future of human thinking. At the Third International Whitehead Conference in Claremont, California, David Griffin called on us to make the 21st century a Whiteheadian century. The idea seemed fanciful to many people, but it is crucially important for today's world. After the long age of analysis and fragmentation, the need for synthesis may once again assert itself. Broadly, Whiteheadian thought may be seen by more and more people as existentially, ecologically, and socially promising. At this moment, the most promising and exciting development of process philosophy has emerged in China. More than 30 process centers, including Zhuang Whitehead Research Center, the one who helps organize this conference, were established in China. Many of Whitehead's books and other process thinkers' books were translated and published in China. For example, there are 3 translations of Whitehead's Process and Reality, 10 translation versions of Aims of Education were published in China. Also, numerous publications by Chinese scholars on process thought came out. Recently, the government decided to spend 2 million RMB to support the translation and publication of the complete works of Whitehead. Whitehead's thought has been welcomed in China as a way of clarifying and supporting the commitment to ecological civilization, which has been strongly re-emphasized by the Chinese government. That means that a movement which is marginalized in this country and in Europe has become prestigious in China. I used to predict that China will become the center of process studies in the future world. What happened in China has made me hopeful. I'm glad that I lived long enough to see this happen. I think if Whitehead was still alive, he would be very happy too. I wish the conference a full success. Thank you.
Our next video message comes from Dr. J. McDaniel, board chair of the Center for Process Studies and professor emeritus of religious studies at Hendrix College.
Good morning. As chair of the board of the Center for Process Studies, I welcome you to this conference, A Century of Process Thought. Now, we at the Center for Process Studies are not 100 years old, but we are 50 years old. And for 50 years, we have been promoting the study in advance of Whitehead's philosophy around the world. We believe that his core ideas, interconnectedness, change, creativity, the intrinsic value of all life, can benefit the whole world. We're especially excited that process thought is now developing in China at such an increased rate. We recognize, as did Whitehead, that there are affinities between process philosophy and Chinese traditions, both classical and contemporary. But what we didn't realize is that Whitehead's philosophy could be developed and would be developed in China in such unique and important ways. This is exciting to us. Now, at the center, we see process philosophy as relevant to at least three areas of life. One, obviously, is academic. We see his ideas as relevant to a study within disciplines and across disciplines. It's uniquely helpful in understanding how the sciences, the social sciences, and the humanities can work together, understanding their respective languages and insights, and seeing them as part of the whole. We also believe that process philosophy can be immensely helpful at a civilizational level. It can help contribute to a climate, a cultural climate of respect and care for the entire community of life, for human beings, of course, but for all living beings, and for the earth itself. And finally, it can be helpful at local levels. It can help local communities build and develop in creative and constructive ways that are compassionate, caring, participatory, just, humane to animals, and good for the earth, with no one left behind. So at these three levels, academic, civilizational, and local, we have high hopes for process philosophy. And we have even higher hopes that Chinese process philosophy can contribute to those ends, both within China and across the world. Yes, like Wang Zhoha and Fan Meijun, yes, we hope for a new kind of enlightenment, a new kind of awakening, inspired by Whitehead's philosophy. Welcome again to this marvelous conference.
Nice. Thank you, Jay. It's nice to have videos and messages from people who aren't able to be here in person. And I would like to also acknowledge all of those who are joining us online. Thanks. Good to have you here. All right. So we have another word of welcome from Dr. Chen, president of United International College.
Distinguished professors, Whiteheadian scholars, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this momentous conference, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Alfred North Whitehead's arrival at Harvard. On behalf of United International College, also called UIC here in China, I extend my deepest congratulations to the Center for Whitehead Studies and our partners in the United States for organizing this significant event. UIC is truly honored to contribute to the commemoration of Whitehead's extraordinary legacy. At UIC, we take great pride in being China's first liberal arts university, a commitment that resonates profoundly with Alfred North Whitehead's educational philosophy. His vision of organic education, central to his thought, emphasized the dynamic and interconnected nature of learning. Whitehead believed that education should not be compartmentalized into separate disciplines, but seen as an organic process where diverse fields of knowledge coverage, enabling students to understand the world as an integrated, complex whole. This is exactly what we have been promoting at UIC. I trust that the rich discussions and exchanges that will take place during this conference will not only deepen our appreciation of Whitehead's contributions, but also spark new ideas for advancing liberal arts education globally. Together, we can continue to shape a future where education nurtures the whole person, intellectually, physically, aesthetically, and ethically, and foster a deep connection to the intricate realities of the world that we inhabit. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive and inspiring conference.
I hear messages like that, and no wonder John Cobb has hope, right? That's exciting stuff. And our last video message from Dr. Dao Deng, former president of UIC and current director of UIC's Institute for Advanced Study, also widely known for his expertise in computational mathematics. Dr. Tang is also a member of the Chinese Academy of Sciences.
Dear distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great honor to deliver the opening remarks for this significant conference. On behalf of the Institute for Advanced Study at United International College, I extend my warmest welcome to each of you. This event, co-organized by the Whitehead Research Center and the IAS, is not only a tribute to Alfred North Whitehead and his mathematical and philosophical thoughts, but also a gathering of brilliant minds, carrying out shared hopes for future research. The Institute for Advanced Study at UIC is dedicated to fostering interdisciplinary research and innovation, and Whitehead's philosophical ideas align deeply with our mission. His process philosophy has had a profound impact, not just in philosophy, but across disciplines such as science, education, and ecology. During his time at Cambridge, Whitehead co-authored Principia Mathematica with Bertrand Russell, a landmark work in the history of mathematics that has sparked intellectual discussions for over a century. As a mathematician, I see two types of mathematicians: those who focus on solving specific problems and those who strive to build grand theoretical frameworks. Whitehead undoubtedly belonged to the latter. His contributions to mathematics, particularly in algebra, geometry, logic, and the philosophy of mathematics, continue to influence fields as diverse as theoretical computer science, formal systems, and symbolic logic. Through his work, Whitehead showed that mathematics is not only a tool for problem solving, but a fundamental way to understand the world and its dynamic processes. With that, I sincerely wish this conference great success. May the exchange of ideas here deepen our understanding of Whitehead's thought and pave the way for future academic collaborations. I hope you have an inspiring and productive conference today. Thank you, and I wish you all good health.
That is it for our video presentations. And next, I'd actually like to invite George Whitehead to say a few words if you're welcome, if you're willing to. So you might have heard what I just said, George Whitehead. That last name rings a bell for most of you, I imagine. George is Alfred North Whitehead's grandson.
Well, thank you. Like to start by thanking Dr. Davis and the organizing committee for inviting me to join you today. Dr. Lucas has maintained a warm and friendly connection with me over the past few years, and that I appreciate very much, and it makes my inclusion here today possible. And thank you all for your warm welcome you've given me. It's an honor to join this celebration. I represent a number of Whitehead descendants, the youngest of whom are two of his great-granddaughters I saw early this week just down the road in Somerville. At preschool age, they aren't yet aware that their ancestor is anything to write home about. I hope they will eventually. After all, they're our family's contribution to the future. I was born a couple of years after A&W's death. I grew up with Evelyn, his wife, as part of our household, and starting around age 11. I had a row of his books peering over my shoulder at my little desk. And homework procrastination consisted of trying to decipher the first few pages of Whitehead and Russell. And you can guess how well that went. So not only am I proudly one of a small number of living descendants of A.N. Whitehead, but unfortunately, I have the distinction of being the person in the room with the least understanding of his work and why it's important. Doesn't reduce the honor I feel in being part of this today. My grandfather's reputation within the family is of a warm and genial man devoted to his wife and children, and a gracious, engaged host who might appear to have dozed off after dinner, only to open its eyes and contribute a startlingly relevant comment to the conversation. More recently, I've read some of his correspondence with publishers, and by contrast, got a view of a man sharply defending his intellectual territory and his prerogatives. My hope is that he found a middle ground with his students that was both warm and remained intellectually rigorous. I'd like to offer you two family phrases which are attributed to him. One is, "Oh, that's an empirical matter." He apparently used this to dismiss questions he didn't care to pursue. Well, alternately, when someone threatened to go to a reference work and settle something that he found interesting, he might say, "Let's not narrow the field for fruitful speculation." Which leaves me thinking that today could be considered as a celebration of 100 years of tilling A&W's broad field for fruitful speculation. Thank you.
Our last welcome address this morning comes from Juncheng Zhuang, also known as Johnson, who's representing one of our local partners, the Boston School of Modern Languages. Johnson, please come on up. He's a distinguished professional that's recognized for contributions in healthcare and research, holds a master's in biotech from Georgetown, and a degree in public health administration as well. So please.
Dear Dr. Andrew and Professor Guo, and all the friends, colleagues, and guests, and good morning, everyone. Firstly, I would like to extend my appreciation to the organizers for giving me this opportunity and to participate in this great conference. And also, it's my honor to have this chance. I didn't thought I would be the first one to make this speech. I thought I'd be the last one. Yeah. Anyway, today we're gathering here at Harvard University and united by our shared respect and admiration for Alfred North Whitehead, the philosopher whose innovative ideas have inspired people to change the world. And today we celebrate this contribution and remember our duty to uphold his intellectual legacies. At the heart of Whitehead's philosophies, we find a deep understanding of life processes, appreciation for internet connections, and the courage to challenge the typical wisdoms. And this conference is not only honored Whitehead's time at Harvard, but also highlights the continuous importance of his teaching in today's world. Education is the acquisition of the arts and utilization of knowledges, Whitehead once said, and a belief that he has inspired curiosity, innovation, and a unique thinking in individuals and institutions alike. I think as a representative of the new generation, and we feel there's a profound responsibility and duty to spread this culture. And the Liberal International is deeply honored to participate in this significant event. And our organization has continued to uphold this social responsibility in the education, healthcare, and the global culture. While nurturing the next generation, throughout this journey, we have been profoundly inspired by his philosophies. While we recognize the command of Whitehead's transformative thinking, we remember that the crucial role his teaching plays in our educational approach. As a public health professionals, we strive to influence the younger generation of healthcare practitioners, emphasizing the importance of caring for the patient's life meaning and illuminating the medicine with the humanities and integrating the creative knowledge into clinical practice and the scientific research. Our ultimate goal is to cultivate the high quality professionals who possess both medical skills and compassionate hearts. Tonight, we reaffirm our commitment to preserve his legacy by fostering the deeper understanding of his philosophy ideas, using them as a powerful tools for building the connection and driving positive changes. Finally, my deepest appreciation goes to the Center for Whitehead Study in UIC China, and the Center for Process Study in the US to organizing this important event and giving us the privilege to honor Alfred North Whitehead. May his quest for the truth knowledges, his legacies continue to inspire us and guide our intellectual journeys now and forever. Thank you all. Enjoy.